Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Bobbin, and on this channel we break down the most useful AI tools for real life and real work. Today we are diving into Claude, and I'm going to walk you through 10 genuinely powerful use cases that I personally use every single week. We are not doing the typical here's what AI explainer. Instead, you'll see practical copy this tomorrow examples for writing, coding, research, business, and learning. Stick around to the end because use case number 9 is the one that I actually saved me about 10 hours last month. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and let's get into it. Quick roadmap before we dive in. We'll cover 5 major categories where Claude really shines: writing, coding, research, business, and learning. Within these, I'll walk through 10 specific use cases, and for every single one, I'll show you the exact prompt pattern that gets the best results. If you have ever felt like AI gives you generic, useless answers, 90% of the time the problem is the prompt, not the model. So pay close attention to those prompt patterns. Feel free to pause and screenshot any slide you want to come back to. Alright, let's start with use case number 1. Before the use cases, a quick 30-second primer for anyone new to Claude. Claude is built by Anthropic, a company founded by ex-OpenAI researchers focused specifically on AI safety. 4 things make Claude different in practice. First, the long context window. You can drop in entire books, long PDFs, or huge code bases and have it work with all of that at once. Second, it's genuinely good at nuanced reasoning. It doesn't just pattern match, it actually follows multi step logic. Third, safety is the first class design goal, not an afterthought. And fourth, it's multi modal. You can paste images, PDFs, and structured documents, and it understands them. Okay, primer done. Let's get into the use cases. Use case number 1: long form writing and editing. This is probably the most popular use of any AI assistant, but most people use it badly. Claude is particularly strong here for 2 reasons. One, it holds a consistent voice across very long pieces, so a 5000 word article won't drift in tone halfway through. 2, when you ask it to edit, it preserves your voice instead of flattening everything into generic AI prose. Look at the prompt pattern on the right. The trick is to give Claude a role. You are an editor for the specific audience. Define the tone you want and then explicitly tell it to keep your voice. I also love asking it to flag weak claims. That alone has caught me making confident statements I couldn't back up. I use this for blog posts, newsletter drafts, LinkedIn articles, and even cover letters. Use case number 2: pair programming. Whether you are a beginner learning Python or a senior engineer wrangling legacy code, Claude is one of the strongest coding assistants available right now. 3 things I use it for constantly. First, explaining code I didn't write. Paste a function and ask what it does and where it might break. Genuinely the fastest way to onboard into a new code base. Second, building features. Describe the behavior, share the related files, and it will scaffold working code that fits your existing patterns. Third, debugging. Paste the stack trace plus the relevant code, and it usually finds the bug faster than you will. The pro tip at the bottom is the single biggest unlock. Share related files together. If you are debugging a function that calls 3 other functions, paste all 4. Context is everything. Use case 3: research and document analysis. This one is huge for students, lawyers, analysts, and anyone who reads a lot of dense material. The workflow is simple. Drop in the document, could be a PDF, contract, research paper, or an interview transcript. Then, and this is the key step, ask focused questions. Don't say summarize this. That gives generic results. Ask what you actually need. What are the three biggest risks mentioned in section 4? Or what is the termination clause in this contract? Third, cross check. Ask Claude to quote the exact sentence from the document for each claim it makes. That keeps it honest. And on the right, Claude can hold roughly 500 pages of text in a single conversation. That means an entire book, a full quarterly report, or your whole project's documentation can be loaded at once. Use case 4, brainstorming and strategy. This is where Claude really starts to feel like a colleague rather than a tool. I use it as a sparring partner for pricing, positioning, product roadmap trade offs, even big personal decisions. The thing is, most people prompt this badly. Look at the comparison on the right. The weak prompt. Give me ideas for marketing campaign. Gets you generic surface level ideas you have already thought of. The strong prompt assigns Claude a role. Be skeptical and ask for specific output. 3 objections, then a sharper version of the plan. Once you start prompting like this, the quality of the conversation jumps. The trick is to make Claude push back, not just agree. Agreement is comfortable but useless. Use cases 5 and 6 together. Business productivity. The boring stuff that quietly eats your week. Top left, email triage. Paste a long thread, ask Claude to summarize the actual situation, list the open questions, and save a reply that hits the right tone. Top right, meeting notes. Drop in a raw transcript from Zoom, Otter, or Granular, and Claude turns it into a clean recap with decisions, owners, and follow ups. On the bottom left, reports and memos. Give it a messy underlying data, the audience, and the decision the document needs to drive. It produces a structured narrative draft. And on the bottom right, hiring and feedback, job descriptions, interview rubrics, performance feedback. The common thread, don't ask for good email or a good memo. Tell Claude the audience, the goal, and the constraints. Use case 7, personal tutor. This is the use case I wish I had in college. 3 approaches that genuinely work. First, Feynman style. Ask Claude to explain a concept like you're 12. Once you understood the simple version, ask for your next layer of complexity. Repeat until you have reached grad school depth. Second, quiz me back. Don't just read explanation, ask Claude to test you. Tell it to start easy and ramp up the difficulty as you get answers right. Third, spaced practice. Ask for flashcards, drills, and weekly review questions. Then come back to the same conversation a week later and have it test you again. And the tip of the bottom is huge. Tell Claude what you already know. I'm a software engineer trying to learn statistics. Produces a widely better explanation than explain statistics to me. Use case 8, translation and cross language work. Google Translate is fine for single sentence, but Claude is better when nuance matters. Look at the example on the right. Let's circle back on this next week. That's a business idiom. A literal Spanish translation sounds bizarre. Claude understands the intent and produces the same meaning naturally phrased. It also is great for localization, which is different from translation. If you have written a marketing campaign for a US audience and you want a Japanese version, the cultural references probably need to change, not just the words. Claude handles that. And one underrated trick, ask it to explain why it chose certain phrasings. You will learn the language faster than from any textbook. Use case 9. And this is the one I teased at the start, data analysis and the cleanup. The one that saved me 10 hours last month. Here's the situation. I had 800 rows of customer feedback, free text, messy, the kind of thing that normally means a full afternoon of manual tagging. Instead, I dropped a sample into Claude, described what I had, and asked for Python code. that would cluster the responses by theme, score sentiment, and output a summary table. I ran the code, hit one error, pasted the error back, Claude fixed it, and 20 minutes later I had a clean analysis. The 4 step workflow at the top is exactly what you wanted to copy. Messy data in, describe what you have got and what you need, ask for code, then run it and iterate. You don't need to be a programmer for this. Claude writes the code, you just paste and run. Use case 10, creative work, stories, scripts, world building, and yes, YouTube scripts like this one. The thing people get wrong with AI and creative writing is that they ask for a story and accept whatever comes back. The result feels generic because Claude doesn't know your voice. The fix is on the left. Share 3 samples of your actual writings. Could be old blog posts, journal entries, or chapters you have drafted. Ask Claude to study the voice and then draft in that style. On the right, 4 project types I have personally used Claude for: fiction, screenplays, game lore, fantastic for D&D campaigns by the way. Quick break from the use cases. 5 pro tips that will literally 10x your results. 1. Give Claude a role. You're a senior editor, you're a staff engineer. One sentence at the start of any prompt and the answers get noticeably sharper. 2. Show and don't tell. If you want a specific output style, paste 3 examples of it. 3 good examples beat 3 paragraphs of instructions every time. 3. Iterate, don't restart. The first answer is rarely the best one. Push back. Ask for sharper versions. Ask for 3 alternatives and pick the best. 4. Ask for reasoning. Walk me through your logic step by step. This catches errors before you act on them. 5. And this is the most important, verify high stakes claims. AI can be confidently, fluently wrong for anything involving numbers, codes, legal, or medical information. Double check always. I want to be honest with you because I see way too many AI hype videos on YouTube. Claude is incredible, but it's not magic. Here's what it isn't great at: real time information. There's a knowledge cutoff date, so it doesn't know what happened yesterday unless you give it web access. Hallucinated facts, citations, and URLs. This is the big one. It will sometimes make up sources that sound real. Complex math without tools. Straight arithmetic and word problems are fine, but advanced calculation need a code tool to be reliable. Specialized legal or medical advice. Useful for understanding concepts, dangerous as a substitute for a professional. And anything requiring real world action, booking a flight, posting to your account, needs an agentic version with proper tools. On the right is how to mitigate each one, the big one. Always verify quotes, names, dates, and links. Don't ship anything to a real audience without that step. Quick recap before we wrap up. 10 use cases: long form editing and writing, pair programming, research and document analysis, brainstorming and strategy, email and meeting productivity, reports, memos and hiring docs, personal tutoring, translation and localization, data analysis and cleanup, and creative work. Pause the video and screenshot this slide if you want a permanent reference. I genuinely encourage you to pick 3 from this list, not all 10, and try them this week. Trying to use a new tool for everything at once is how you end up using it for nothing. Alright, those are the 10 use cases, the pro tips, and honest limitations. Here's your assignment. If you got value from this, pick 3 use cases, not 10, 3, and actually try them this week. Use the prompt patterns I showed. Then come back and tell me in the comments which one surprised you the most. I read all of them and I'll pin the best ones. If this video saved you time, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps the channel, and if you are not subscribed yet, I drop a new AI deep dive every Tuesday, so subscribe them and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.